Okay, and then today for maths, yesterday we looked at months of the year. So today we're going to be talking about time and how to work out passing time. I'll explain what that means, okay? So we've done time before last term. So remember that you have the long hand and the short hand on a clock, okay? And when the long hand is by the 12 and another number, so let's say the long hand's by the 12, or let's use one of these, the long hand's by the 12 and maybe the other hand is by the short hand is by the 4, that means it's 4 o'clock. So when the long hand's by the 12, it means o'clock. And if the long hand is by the 6 and let's say the short hand is by the 2, that means it makes it 2:30. 2:30. When the long hand's by the 6, it means it's 2:30. Okay. So there's a few more things that I want to explain to you about the clock, and then we're gonna do some work on that. So on the clock, we have these numbers 12, 1, 2, 3, the numbers from 1 all the way to 12, right? And the way the clock works is it goes this way. It goes this way, as you can see by the arrows over there. Okay? So we have the minute hand, and the minute hand moves every minute. And then we have the hour hand, it moves every hour. So what an hour means is when the long hand goes right around back to the 12, then we say that's 1 hour. Okay, or in other words, that's 60 minutes, because it's the long hand and that's the minute hand. Remember the minute hand. So it goes right around and back there. That's 1 hour, 60 minutes. That's the same thing, okay? I wrote it down here. 1 hour means 60 minutes. So if someone says to you, I'm spending 60 minutes here, and another person says, I'm spending an hour here, they mean the same thing, the exact same thing, they just saying it differently, okay? So, the minute hand goes right around, and then that means it's 60 minutes. And the reason why it's 60 minutes is because, you know, when you look at a clock, right? You'll see sometimes in between the 12 and the 1 or the numbers that there's small dots there in between. And if you count these dots from that number to this number or this number to that number, you'll find that there's always 5 dots. So it's kind of like 5 dots here, 5, 5, 5. So what do you think it would be counting in? It would be counting in 5s, right? Okay. So for example, we're going to count this. We're going to count from 12 to 1 and see how many dots there are. So you don't count this dot by the 12, you count the next one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in between here there's 5, right? And again the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So in between here there's 5 dots every single time between each number, right around until you get back to 12. So we're going to find out why that is 60. So if I count from 12 to 1, and that's 5, and I'm counting in 5s now, right? 5s, 5, 10, 15, that's why I wrote 15 there, 20, 25, 30, that's why I wrote 30 there. Okay, 35, 40, 45, that's why I wrote 45, 50, 55, 60, which is 60 minutes, 1 hour. So that means the long hand moves by every dot, and it moves right around until it comes back to the 12, and it moves 60 times, which means it's 60 minutes and it's the same as saying 1 hour. Okay. But now, what about half an hour? So a half an hour is half of the clock. Remember, we did a line of symmetry, so a clock, as you can see here, has this line of symmetry in the middle. Right? This side looks the same as that side. Okay, except excluding the numbers. So don't look at the numbers. If I do this, it means this is half of the clock. And if I do this, it means this is the other half of the clock. So if the long hand moves only half of the clock, then you say it is 30 minutes. Or even if it moves the other half of the clock, that's also 30 minutes. Okay, so let's say the long hand goes from the 12 to the 6. Let's count it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 minutes. And remember, just like 1 hour, a half an hour is the same as saying 30 minutes. Okay? A half an hour is the same as saying 30 minutes. It means the same thing. So, when I'm counting from there to there, that's 30 minutes. That means that's a half an hour. And then what if I want to go from the 6 to the 12? Let's see if that's also 30 minutes. So remember, between the 6 and the 7 there's 5. We're not going to count from 30. Okay, because we're gonna see that we only count in a half an hour. So between these numbers, remember, it's always 5. So it would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. So if the long hand goes from the 6 and all the way to the 12, that you will say is 30 minutes or half an hour. Or if the long hand goes from the 12 to the 6, that's also 30 minutes, which is a half an hour. Okay? So just to recap, when the long hand goes right around, that's 1 hour. If the long hand moves from only half of the clock, that's a half an hour. Or if it moves from this way, that's a half an hour. Okay? So again, the clock moves this way, and then we have 60, 15, that's quarter past, 30, which is half past, and 45, which is quarter to. Okay, we'll do more of these quarter past and quarter to next term. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about how time passes, and I'm going to just do another clip for you to explain that.